Let's talk about listening comprehension. And before I share with you the 3 listening tips you must follow to better understand native and non-native speakers anywhere, anytime, I wanted to take a listen and tell me how much you can actually understand without subtitles.
I just got off the phone with a young woman who is looking for career advice, and she wants to switch from one job to another. Very unhappy in her job. So I said, okay, well, what are your talents? And she had a hard time telling me what her specific talents were. And I thought to myself, this is very, very important. You don't chase your dreams. You chase your talents. Everybody has dreams. Doesn't mean you're going to be that thing. You are supposed to do what you're talented at. So it's your job in life to figure out what your specific, unique talents are and go chase them. That's what you're going to do. Chase your talents, not your dreams.
Nice. If you don't know me very well, how's it hanging? I'm Teacher Prix. Make sure to subscribe because I'm always posting different kinds of English lessons to help you on your journey to English fluency. And today we're going to be talking about listening comprehension. And stay with me because I prepared a wonderful lesson that I know you will enjoy. But now, be honest, how much did you understand? And this is a tricky question. Okay, let me write this. Tricky question. When I ask people, how much did you understand? It's tricky because some people will say, oh, well, Priscilla, I understood a lot. She's talking about dreams and talent. That's a trap because that's a very general answer. And this is what happened to many English learners. They get some words, which is nice. It's important. But then they believe they understood everything. And as a result, when they go outside and they actually have a conversation with an American, with an Irish, with a British, at work or on the street, they freeze because 1 or 2 words will not help anymore. And if that is happening to you, I know this lesson is going to be really useful because you're not bad at listening. No, you're just lacking a proper method when using the resources, the audio files, the movies, TV shows, music, TV news to work on your listening comprehension. And that's what I'm going to cover in this lesson. And then we will go back to this file so that we can actually use the strategies that I am talking about. And if you are a student in my academy, I know you're going to like what I prepared. I prepared an entire extra module. I'm going to be posting it probably today or tomorrow on the platform. It's an extra module focusing on the tips that I'm going to share today. Yes, I love doing that for my babies, creating additional lessons. Now, guys, let me get my file here. And hey, share this video with a friend. That really helps, okay? So when the subtitles are gone, what happens to your comprehension? And this is a very important question you need to answer because in many situations, especially nowadays, social media and other websites make it very easy for the listener to understand because of the subtitles. So you're watching this video. In many cases, in many situations, many people are turning on the subtitles. And as a result, it's not listening anymore, it's reading. So this impacts your overall comprehension. So with that in mind, before I give you the listening practice, there are 3 types of listening mistakes. And they are connected to action, sequence, and integration. I'm going to cut to the chase because I want to make sure that this lesson is very objective, okay? But you can tell me here in the comments, okay? My listening will improve. If you're watching this lesson and you're paying attention, I want you to type this. My listening will improve. And if you're watching the replay, I want you to type in the comments as well. My listening will improve. I want to make sure that you're paying attention to what I am saying. Let's see how many will reply. But anyway, what are the mistakes connected to action? More passive, more active. And let me give you some examples here. Before going live, I was listening to a podcast very briefly. I was finishing a few things to get ready for the live lesson. And while I was finishing it, I was also listening to a podcast. Now, is that action bad? Well, it's not a bad action. It's nice to listen to things. However, will this action help me improve my listening? Not necessarily. because my focus, my attention were not entirely on the podcast. They were focused on finishing the work that I had to finish before going live. And this is what happens to thousands and thousands of people who struggle with listening comprehension. They are at work replying to an email, but they are also listening to Teacher Prix. They are in the bathroom minding their own business, and they're also listening to audio files in English. They are at the gym exercising, but they are also listening to a video or a podcast or a short video. So this action is more passive. Of course, you can continue with that action, but don't associate that with a listening mastery routine. Unfortunately, many English learners, especially the ones who study alone, confuse these guys. Active practice and passive practice. Active means I'm going to eliminate my distractions right now, and I am going to follow a good sequence, which is mistake number 2. A sequence is powerful. A bad sequence will make you stay stuck with your listening comprehension, while a powerful sequence will elevate your comprehension, will help you master your listening comprehension. So when I talk about sequence, students, what would I like you to think about? Subtitles. Subtitles on, subtitles off. How many times? What should I focus on? Each time I listen, should I focus on something else? Is there a sequence I must follow? Should I follow the same sequence for every material I listen to, for every type of audio file? So should I follow the same sequence for a movie I watch, for a TV show, for the news, for a podcast, for Teacher Prix's video? Is it the same thing? So a sequence is a common mistake students make because they're alone. They think they just have to, I'm going to use this later, I'm going to need this later on. They just need to put on their headphones and yeah, I'm going to hit play, y'all, and everything's going to be fine. But that's not how it works, I'm afraid. So a powerful sequence, and I will cover that here, will help you elevate your mastery, your listening mastery. And a poor one, well, will do the opposite. Okay, so pay attention. Now, the next one, integration. Oh, Priscilla, I listened, I took some notes. Okay, I was paying attention. But now what? What should I do? Do I really have to do more? And the answer is, do you want to improve? Because if the answer is yes, you're going to hit like in this video and subscribe. No, but that's not it. Because if the answer is yes, if you want to master your listening comprehension, if you want to be fluent, then there's more for you to do. That's what I call integration. I integrate different exercises in my listening practice with the sole purpose of improving my listening comprehension so that I can understand native speakers like Reese Witherspoon. There's a lot of saliva in my mouth. Reese Witherspoon and many other native speakers, actors, actresses, TV anchors, athletes, many different kinds of interviews, influencers. I want you to understand everybody. Now, I'm going to cover these items one by one, okay? Number 1, action. Active listening. So that means I'm going to take notes. I'm going to grab my notebook. I hope I don't drop anything. Yeah, okay. I'm going to grab my notebook and I'm going to take notes. Simple as that, okay? If you change that action alone, I'm already proud. You're taking notes. That's beautiful, okay? And one thing on a side note here, when I say take notes, I'm not implying a dictation exercise. This is not a dictation exercise, okay? I'm not saying you're supposed to write every single word you listen. There are exercises for that, but that's not the goal here. What I'm trying to say is keywords, key phrases, so that you can help your memory organize the ideas later on when you're finishing the exercise. That's what I mean by taking notes. I'm not trying to make you type or write everything you listen. That's not the goal. Okay, so as I was saying, listening while driving, that's not it because you can't take notes. And to improve your listening comprehension, another thing connected to action is you need you need to test your listening comprehension. So when I'm listening and I'm taking notes, ideally, you need questions. You need to answer questions based on that material. Otherwise, you will fall into the trap of saying, oh yeah, I understood. It's about dreams. It's about talents. That's very, very insufficient. Okay, that's not enough. So by answering questions, I am really making sure that your listening comprehension is tested. Priscilla, but I study alone. That is difficult for me to do. I understand. If you're studying alone, then you will have to be a little bit more creative. You will have to create more detailed descriptions. That's what you have to do if you're alone. For the students in my academy, my online program, they don't need to do that because I already prepare the questions for them. I prepare additional exercises for them, so they already have that covered. But if you are alone, then you will need to do that by yourself, okay? Sequence. When you're listening for comprehension practice, to improve your comprehension, you will listen 3 to 5 times, okay? For comprehension, only 3. That's it. In real life, people don't repeat too many times. If you're lucky, they repeat a second time. And if they really like you, they repeat a third, but with an angry face. Okay, so that's I like to imitate life. They repeat a second time, but the third time they will, but they will not be happy about it. And after you do the comprehension part, then you can listen 3 to 5 times more on top of the 3 times to work on different tasks. Pay attention. When you listen again 3 to 5 times, it's not comprehension anymore. It's integration. There are different tasks that you're supposed to do, okay? So for listening practice, for listening comprehension, no subtitles, okay? No. Unless it is something long, a video that is long, like a short scene from a movie that is 5-7 minutes, okay? Or the news, article on the news that perhaps is a little bit longer than you're comfortable with. Then you can do like a sandwich strategy. Subtitles off, subtitles on, subtitles off. Then you can do that. But if it's something longer, okay? If it's something short, up to 3 minutes, no subtitles, okay? Got it? What is the sequence? General, detail, detail, especially if you are alone, okay? This works really well because then you don't have anyone creating the questions for you, the comprehension questions for you. General, the first time you're gonna listen, you're gonna catch general details. Oh, she's talking about talents. She's talking about dreams. That's it. That's very general, okay? When you listen the same file a second time and the third time, then you will focus on details. Does she give examples? Does she say names? Does she give explanations? What is she saying extra to the general idea? How is she describing this general idea? These are the details. And you're going to do this in the second time you listen and the third time you listen. That's it. But Priscilla, I listened 3 times. I didn't get everything. I know. It's natural. It's practice. This is going to happen. That's why you repeat the process more than once so that you can master that your listening comprehension, okay? After you finish these 3 times, then you can move on to the integration. Integration is your listening will never improve if you stop at listening. Okay, Priscilla, I listened. Wonderful. Then I turned on the subtitles to see the transcript for my correction. What else? Am I done? No, your work is just getting started. Let's get started. Let's get started in here. Now, the practice to make you fluent, to boost your vocabulary, to boost your English speaking and pronunciation will begin. So you will need to do vocabulary work, pronunciation, grammar sometimes, writing work, and even speaking if you have a good teacher, and you do. That's me. Now, we're going to have practice time with that audio file. But before I do, make sure to share this video with a friend. I know you can help someone who needs to find this video. And it actually helps my channel, okay? There have been many changes here on YouTube. And I would really appreciate if you could share this video. And if you're interested in something really targeted at listening, I have my listening mastery course. It just focuses on listening, and it'll show you the best listening practices so that you can boost your listening comprehension, as well as listening exercises you can do. I know you're going to like this course. The link is in the description of this video, but let's keep rolling. Comprehension questions. Now is the time to practice, okay? I prepared 6 questions for your listening comprehension, based on the video from Reese Witherspoon. I like to say her name, Reese Witherspoon. So beautiful. You listen to the audio file. I will play it 3 times. I will pause. I will wait each time I listen, okay? Each time we listen, because I'm going to listen as well. And then we're going to focus on the questions. So question number 1, what is the main message? So whenever you see the word main, the most important, okay? Something that's very general at the end of the day. What was the woman's problem? Here, I'm giving you information. I'm helping you. What did Reese ask the woman? Now it's specific. I want to know. What is the question? What did she ask? How does Reese think she should solve it? Solve what? The woman's problem. What does Reese say about dreams? And what's our job in life according to Reese? That's detailed practice. That is what is going to elevate. And here, some of you could be saying, oh, but I thought this video from Reese Witherspoon was too easy. Yeah, I picked something easier to exemplify the practice. To some of you, this will be very easy. To some of you, this will be very hard. But I use longer audio files, 2-3 minutes, because I want to test your comprehension. And the idea here is to demonstrate the kind of practice you're supposed to do. But let's take a look at the file. I will leave the questions here so that you can see the questions while you listen, okay? But let's go. Pay attention.
I just got off the phone with a young woman who is looking for career advice, and she wants to switch from one job to another. Very unhappy in her job. So I said, okay, well, what are your talents? And she had a hard time telling me what her specific talents were. And I thought to myself, this is very, very important. You don't chase your dreams. You chase your talents. Everybody has dreams. Doesn't mean you're going to be that thing. You are supposed to do what you're talented at. So it's your job in life to figure out what your specific, unique talents are and go chase them. That's what you're going to do. Chase your talents, not your dreams.
Okay, so if you're doing this practice alone, what would be my recommendation? You listened the first time, you pause. Now you wait. Now you take a look at your notes. What words did you write down? So this would be the ideal first exercise you're supposed to do when doing your listening practice. This is what I recommend my students in my academy. Okay, I listen the first time, I take some notes, I pause, I reflect, because this is practice, this is not real life. And in this short video from Reese, I can also explore her pronunciation and intonation. It is a wonderful video for pronunciation and intonation. Okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. But this is something I will cover with my students inside the academy. Let's go one more time, okay?
Just got off the phone with a young woman who is looking for career advice, and she wants to switch from one job to another. Very unhappy in her job. So I said, okay, well, what are your talents? And she had a hard time telling me what her specific talents were. And I thought to myself, this is very, very important. You don't chase your dreams. You chase your talents. Everybody has dreams. Doesn't mean you're going to be that thing. You are supposed to do what you're talented at. So it's your job in life to figure out what your specific, unique talents are and go chase them. That's what you're going to do. Chase your talents, not your dreams.
Excellent. As I was saying, I'm going to work on pronunciation with my students, and this is a very good video to work on shadowing. I get this question a lot here on my channel about shadowing, and you don't need really long audio files to work on shadowing. You need good ones, okay? They can range from 1 minute to 3 minutes. They don't need to be long materials. They need to have a target. They need to be good for pronunciation and intonation. And in this case, in her case, she has very good pronunciation. I think it would be great for you guys to use it, okay? Now, I'm gonna leave the link to my mastery course, my listening mastery course, in case you're interested, here in the comments, in the chat, okay? In the chat comments, listening mastery course. If you're interested, I know you're gonna benefit from this course. I give many tools and ideas to help you boost your comprehension, okay? Now, I don't know how to pin my message. Why am I not able to pin my message? I'm the owner of the channel. Anyway. All right. Now let's go one more time. Final time.
I just got off the phone with a young woman who is looking for career advice, and she wants to switch from one job to another. Very unhappy in her job. So I said, okay, well, what are your talents? And she had a hard time telling me what her specific talents were. And I thought to myself, this is very, very important. You don't chase your dreams. You chase your talents. Everybody has dreams. Doesn't mean you're going to be that thing. You are supposed to do what you're talented at. So it's your job in life to figure out what your specific, unique talents are and go chase them. That's what you're going to do. Chase your talents, not your dreams.
Excellent, guys. So what is the idea of this practice? To make you work on your listening comprehension, eliminate distractions. This is a short and simple example, okay? It is going to be relatively easy to some of you to work on this exercise. But imagine what you can do if you use the proper tools, the proper audio files to work on your listening comprehension if you follow these strategies. As I said, you need integration. My main recommendation, and this is something that I do with my students prior to their listening experience, because I'm giving them exercises that are more difficult in terms of comprehension. The vocabulary work is before. I do the vocabulary work with my students before the listening exercise. I pick some words because I'm the teacher. I don't give all the transcript to them. I pick some words that are interesting for them to learn. I teach them, and then they are ready for the listening comprehension. But in your case, you're alone. You have to do that on your own. So after you finish your listening practice, you have to pick 3 to 5 words from the audio file and work on definition, studying, getting examples from a dictionary, and creating your examples, because fluent people create. If you want to master fluency, you gotta create examples. And finally, shadowing and pronunciation practice. If you don't do shadowing, if you waste an opportunity to work on your pronunciation and shadowing with listening materials, you're not doing your listening right, okay? So here, for example, I'm gonna make this available to the students in my academy. You can see that I have some arrows, I have some words that I highlighted, some sentences that you can see the underline, because there are very important moments here when she is answering her questions. I know you can't see everything, okay, because it's too small, I guess, but it's not really for you, okay, guys? This is really for the, let's see, yes, okay. This is really for the students in my academy. I'm going to make this available, and I'm going to talk about these points because there are many interesting points when she is making that video, her intonation, the stressing, and these are all exercises that will boost your listening comprehension, okay? And as I said, vocabulary work, I picked some words here, but this is not necessarily part of the lesson, at least not for you guys here. My main focus today was to show you that to improve your listening comprehension, you need proper guidance. You need a strategy when doing your listening practice. And once you finish your listening practice, your work starts. You can work on pronunciation, vocabulary work, writing. I would write about this audio file. I would share my opinion, would practice talking about my opinion regarding her message. Would I have a different view? This is something I could explore. Pronunciation patterns, linking patterns. These are all things that as a teacher, I cover with my students. So this is one point I wanted to make available for today's lesson. Other than that, share this with a friend, but I'll see you in the next one. Bye!